Hello everybody, Carol Garrison here with Carol's Creative Escape. It is Monday, December 30th, and that means it's time for another Make It Monday. My name is Carol Garrison. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from White Bear Lake, Minnesota. I've been making cards for about 30 years, the last 12 years using primarily Stampin' Up! Products. And my goal is to simply spread joy one card at a time. And as I say nearly every video, that could be by giving a card to somebody, by showing somebody how to make a card and inspiring them, maybe showing somebody that they can make cards, that they do have creativity in them, because a lot of times I think we feel stifled in that area. And maybe it's because I've received a card or I've been able to give a card to somebody. It doesn't really matter as long as that joy is being shared in this world that we have. I apologize for not being here last week. I just got kind of behind with the holidays, and then discovered I was probably on Santa's naughty list because on Christmas Day I tested positive for COVID for the very first time since the disease has hit us. I don't think in my family we've had a holiday season that hasn't been impacted by COVID during Thanksgiving or Christmas since this started back in 2020. And I'm kind of ready for it to be done. I've been fortunate that at least I work in an industry where I can't be in my building when I have COVID, but I have a great boss who's allowing me to work from home remotely, so that part has been good. Tomorrow I find out if I'm still negative or positive, or if I'm still positive, and that determines when I can go back into work. So I'm kind of hoping that it shows up negative, and then I can go back to work on Thursday this week. Anyhow, that's kind of where my last week has been. It hasn't been too bad. Just found myself getting tired. We didn't do a whole lot of excitement. We did spend a little bit of time together with family on Christmas. Did not get to see my son and his family yet, and had to postpone our holiday celebration because of me. So we're still working out when that's going to occur. But we did spend some nice time just relaxing and kind of kicking back, and that too was much needed. The only other thing is I've got this set of Christmas decorations out front that growing up, it was something my dad always put up, and they were candles and they had metal stakes. And for us, those stakes stayed in the yard until it thawed enough that we could pull them out. And we actually had rain the last couple days up here. And so my husband and I went out and pulled those candles yesterday and removed the stakes. It is not very often that those stakes are out before springtime hits, but this year we were able to get at least that part of our outdoor lights done. We left everything else up, but we knew as long as it was thawed, we were going to take a couple of those things in. So anyhow, that's kind of what we've been doing at our house. I hope all of you had a great time spending time with family and friends. I'm going to get flipped over. Sure I am. I'm going to get flipped over. My phone has changed, so now I don't know where my flip over thing is. Well, go figure that. There it is, right in front of me. Okay, I got it. And then I just have to hope that I'm live in the right page, because every once in a while I manage to screw that part up too. There I am. Yep, good. Hey, that's not so bad. Everything is kind of working out tonight. I don't have any big plans for New Year's. I'm not sure that I could stay up to midnight if I tried right now. Anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. My husband has a job where he works on New Year's Day, so usually that's a pretty quiet thing for us here at our house, and not one that we make too big a deal out of. Clear off a little bit of workspace here. So last week, not last week, but the last time I was live, I showed you a fun video using one of the new suites from our mini catalog that'll come out and be available for people to order from starting January 7th. Today, I'm going to show you yet another really fun product. And I'm actually making a Valentine's card. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to share. Christmas cards. I make cards. It should be very easy for me to send cards out. I always have cards, right? I have not gotten Christmas cards out in, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. I did get all my Christmas cards into the mail. Granted, it was on Christmas Day that they went in the mail, but I did get cards out this year, so I'm feeling accomplished on that, which is kind of funny because the card I'm going to show you tonight is actually a Valentine card from a bundle that is in the new mini catalog. I'm not able to show you the catalog itself yet, but I will show you the stamp set bundle that I've got. And I really picked this one. I am not a wishy-gushy kind of gal. And so sometimes Valentine stamp sets are a little too over the top for me. But there's one in the catalog called Hugs for Love. And I like that the heart shapes are very simple. And I really like that the sentiments are not just Valentine's and they don't make you go, ugh, because they're so gushy. Happy Valentine's Day. You make me smile. Life is better with you. Lots of hugs and kisses. Sending you a big hug. You and I make the best team. These sentiments go beyond Valentine's Day. They go beyond so many, they could be used for so many different situations. These hearts are basic enough that if somebody just needed a little bit of extra whatever, you could make a card with one of these little hearts. I really like it. And then it comes with these two fun little outlines that the sentiments for the most part will fit into. And remember that when you use these, you could have them going this way or you could have them running this way. And I sometimes forget and have to remind myself of that. So don't forget. What's really cool is there's a new punch and it's called To the Point, and it fits these two images. So you can punch out this outline, have one of these sentiments or a heart inside of it, and you're good to go. And so that's what I'm working with today. The stamps in this set, just so that you see what they look like, is these little hearts. I really like that grouping. There's this straight line of hearts. You make me smile. These are such big sentiments. They really stand out too. Sending you a big hug. You and I make the best team. Life is better with you. Lots of hugs and kisses. Happy Valentine's Day. And then here are these two images stamped. Excuse me. And here's what it looks like punched out with this punch. So that's the bundle that you can get. And you think, wow, that's pretty cool. But there's more. There's more. There's a second stamp set in the catalog called Bright Borders that coordinates with this punch as well. And so you've now got a thank you, congrats from all of us. The future's bright. Sounds like a graduation card from me to you. So very happy. Look at this cute little flower background. I love this little border up here. And these are such delicate little sentiments or little shapes that go with it. So there's more that coordinates with this punch. And I think that's just something cool to kind of keep in mind. And again, you can go either way with that. So work a little bit with that, and you can double up. I mean, you can do lots of things with the punch with or without the stamps, but really you double up some of that flexibility with those stamps. And so I think this is a good combination to get some value for the dollars that you spend. So I'm just sharing that much with you, and I realize I'm kind of off camera on some of that, but anyhow, so Bright Hugs for Love is the bundle, and then Bright Borders is the extra stamp set that you could purchase that would go with it. The nice part is, keep in mind, what happens every January is with the celebration catalog, when you order $60 worth of product, you will also be able to choose a free celebration item. And I will tell you, there's some gorgeous papers and things available in the celebration catalog as well. I have so much stuff, I'll have to show it to you a little bit at a time each week. I kept tonight's card simple because I'm not sure how much talking I'm going to be able to do before I kind of erupt into a coughing attack. And so this is the simple, elegantly simple is what I'm calling it. I was inspired to do this border just with a little bit of scoring. And what inspired me this is actually the edging here. This is a dashed line in the middle, but it's kind of 3 lines. And so that's what inspired me to create these 3 narrow lines on the card surrounding that. And I just wanted a hint of color. It's not very often I do an all white card, or primarily white card, but I really thought the simplicity of these stamps didn't require a whole lot of stuff to go with it. So it's a simple card to prep for. Let me give you measurements. Of course, we're going to start, oh, look at that, I've got stuff on it. You're going to start with your basic 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock that you will score at 4 1/4, and it's no big deal. I'm going to need my scoring thing here anyhow. I noticed I was having problems with ink on my fingers today, so I'm not surprised that I found that when we were going through that. Anyhow, I've got a piece of Gorgeous Grape cardstock here, and this measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And then my basic white measures 3 3/4. Nope, this way it measures 3 3/4 by 5. I wanted just a teeny bit of color showing on the border, but not a whole lot. So to make this card, let's start first with the scoring. Now, be careful when you're doing this so that you do have your scoring blade as the one that you grab and not your cutting blade, because you'll get frustrated. I really started right on the edge and then kind of moved up by 1/16 of an inch. And so to get my first location, I just put the edge of my cardstock right over the scoring trough, kind of right on the edge of where this gray piece ends on this side. And I just took my scoring blade and went down it. And then I moved it up 1/16 of an inch and repeated the process. And I went up another 1/16 of an inch and made another line. So it's really pretty much close to being on the edge. And then I'm going to rotate and repeat. You want to make sure that you don't flip it over, because you don't want to have some of your, well, you might want to, some of your lines going up and some of your lines going down. We'll rotate again. What are other people doing for New Year's Eve? Drop me a comment and let me know. We've had just some wicked frost fog coming through too. In some parts of the state, you literally can't see your hand in front of you. In other parts, you can drive and not be able to see a whole lot, and then it's clear as can be. It's very strange, but apparently the winds are coming tonight, and that's going to start blowing it away, and colder weather is alleged to be on its way. All right, so I've got score lines all the way around it, and again, that is just to add a little bit of decor from being all white. It's kind of a subtle thing, but it does show up much better when you're in person. And then I've got my basic 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock, and I'm going to take my bone folder and burnish that edge so that that is ready to go. And then we're going to get started with our stamping. I'm actually using a lot of stamps. I've got 6 different stamps blocked up and ready to use. And we're going to set, actually I'm going to stamp the inside of this card first, and then I'll set that aside and we'll work on the front piece. So on the inside, I am going to use this heart, and then I have to remember, okay, and then I'm going to put sending you a big hug on the inside. And so these are photopolymer stamps, which means I need my trusty piercing mat. I am going to stamp this in ink, and the colors of ink that I chose to use are Gorgeous Grape, Pretty in Pink, and Melon Mambo. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this inside in Melon Mambo. And one thing I like to do when I'm using darker colors with my photopolymer stamps is I like to just ink them up first in my Versamark and then stamp them in the color. It's still going to stain them slightly, which I don't mind at all because it helps me actually see the stamp better. But it also prevents them from staining it too dark, and that for me is especially important when I'm using Memento ink, because I don't care for how Memento ink stains photopolymer stamps. So let me get my Simply Chamois here, and I'm going to set stamps off to the side as I use them. And then this one I am going to use my Memento ink pad in black for the words. And so I for sure I'm going to be stamping that in my Versamark. And then sending you a big hug. I'm just going to, I think I need to re-ink my Memento. So sending you a big hug. And again, I'm having enough problems with ink pads. I want to make sure I'm cleaning stuff as I use it. And that's all the stamping I need for the inside of my card. So let me just cover that up, and I'm going to move my Memento ink completely out of the way. And then for the front of the card, again, we're going to stamp using our Versamark. And I'm actually using my Pretty in Pink ink pad. So I probably don't need to do the Versamark on this one because Pretty in Pink is pretty pale. And I'm just going to kind of put that, eyeball it, somewhere right in here. And I'm choosing to use that for my base heart because I want to put darker colors on top of it. So I want to make sure that those colors will show. We can set that aside. I think this card, even though scoring was a little bit putsy, I kind of find scoring soothing, so I don't really mind when I'm doing scoring like that. But this card to me was a simple card to make after some of the more detailed Christmas cards that I did. And again, let me ink up this heart. This little heart has lines going through it, which I think show up more once you stamp it. Just adds a little detail to the card. I was kind of joking with my husband. We were in the local Target, and we placed bets before we went in on whether or not they'd have Valentine stuff out yet. And they actually, you could see where they were going to start setting stuff up, but they didn't really officially have any Valentine stuff out yet when we were in the store. I think that was on Sunday. So anyhow, that was kind of fun to take that little bet, but we both ended up losing. And then I'm just going to take this collection of hearts in Melon Mambo and stamp it right there. And I think that just adds a little bit of detail without making it too fussy. Look at that. I did not send a single piece into my stamped stuff. I shouldn't talk yet. I still have this sentiment to do. And then here's where I'm going to stamp my Happy Valentine's Day in my Memento ink. And for those of you that might be watching this video the first time, I will always put my words onto my block crooked because I find it easier to focus on the words and make sure they're lined up where I want them on my card. Oh, shoot. I spoke too soon. It's all right. We can fix that. And I do that, like I said, for me personally, I get straighter sentiment. I can stamp my sentiment straighter if I focus on the words and not whether I got them onto my block straight. I just find any little trick that works for one person may work for somebody else. So if you have problems with that, give it a try. Now, like I said, I did get a little ink on here, but never fear, because I plan to use some bling, and that spot is going to get covered up with bling. All right, the next thing I am going to do is grab my tape runner and do a light touch, check mark, light touch, check mark, and that generally prevents the tape from sticking in. Now it looks like Zelda's decided to join us right when I was going to tape stuff down. Hi, Zelda. Can I scoot you out of the way? I know, you're not very happy. Okay, sorry about that. Usually she's not the one that comes up here. All right, and then my tip when I'm layering is I look at opposite corners, and if those two appear even, then these two corners are going to kind of automatically be even. And I will usually flip it over to rub my adhesive in. That way, if this ink is a little bit wet, it tends not to smear on my fingers. So that's just another little tip that I've got for you. And then we are just simply going to put this on the front of their card. And I find it easier, for some reason, to have my card open like this when I'm adding my layer to the front. I don't know why, but it helps me. All right, so I've got that piece there, and again, I'm just gonna give it a quick pressing from the back. And then last but not least, I'm going to take some of my basic rhinestones. I thought about adding colored ones that would match, and I decided that I really am trying to keep this card kind of basic and simple in the process, so I didn't want to make it too fancy. I need to cover up where I smeared, so for sure I'm going to put one there, and then I'm just going to throw a couple up here. Curious, I almost always will use my bling in sets of 3. I don't know why, and I'm curious, how many do you typically put on your card when you're putting it on? I don't think there's a right or a wrong answer. I just go with groups of 3, and I don't know why. I don't know if that's how I was taught, and so I'm just always kind of in that mode. But now I have a quick and easy Valentine card. Now, if I felt like I needed just a little bit more, we can always pull out my friend, whoops, Winka Stella here. For some reason that cap has been coming off lately. I probably do need to squeeze a little bit more down, but I am not going to do it over my project, because as soon as I do that, that's when it leaks out. And so I'm just going to go over my pink heart and add a little bit of glitter detail. I am being careful to not go too much on top of the colors and spread it that way, but rather handling each color independently. And the reason for that is Wink of Stella can sometimes cause this other ink to bleed just a little bit, and so I'm trying hard to keep that part separate. So now I've just added a little bit more sparkle to this card. I actually kind of like it, and so I'm going to do that to my other card if I could find it. Believe it or not, I managed to lose it on my desktop. I don't know how. I do really like Wink of Stella. I know for a while we weren't keeping it in stock, but we do now have it, and it's available for order again. So if it is a product that you like or that you've never tried, I would include it on your next order, and give it a whirl. I like that it adds a little bit of sparkle and diamondy reflectivity to your cards without creating a whole lot of mess that glitter can sometimes cause. if you know what I mean. So that is my card for tonight. Like I said, trying to kind of keep it simple, but get you thinking for the next holiday season of card making, which will be Valentine's Day. And I'm hoping that I've inspired you. If you have a demonstrator, make sure you request that mini catalog from them. If you don't, I will be happy to share the link with you once catalogs are available for me to share that information with. And in the meantime, I'm going to wish everybody a great week, and we will see you next week with yet another fabulous new product from that mini catalog. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week, and Happy New Year. Bye-bye.